I'm Rob. I'm 23 years old, and I graduated from the University of Florida about a year ago with a degree in sociology. And I currently work at a bank here in town, but I'd love to become a web developer. I spent a lot of my time on Code Academy learning a little bit about programming and taking some online courses, playing guitar, hanging out with my friends, and cooking. And today I'm actually going to teach you guys how to make a beer and bacon macaroni and cheese. So the first thing you're going to want to do is clean your kitchen. And it's something that nobody likes doing, but when you live in a one-bedroom apartment with a tiny kitchen like this, you're going to want to make sure you can get the most out of your counter space and use every square inch. Alright, good for you. You cleaned your kitchen. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is gather your supplies. And the first thing you've got is you're going to want 2 cups of elbow macaroni, followed by a half cup of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 1 egg, and then about 6 ounces of fresh grated cheddar cheese. Now you're going to want to grate the fresh stuff and grate it yourself because shredded cheese actually has wax that prevents it from melting. And nobody wants macaroni and cheese with unmelted cheese. Next we've got the beer. And for this one I'm using a Belgian style pale ale. And now what that's going to do is that's going to give it a little bit stronger beer taste, but you can use anything. You can use wheat beers, pale ales, blondes, and bocks. An IPA will actually give it the strongest beer flavor, and I've done that a couple times. It's pretty good. Now the next thing you're going to want is 4 strips of bacon. Now this is the good stuff. You're going to want that bacon. And then last but not least, we've got our spices. We've got black pepper, paprika, cayenne pepper, and salt. So as you notice, I went ahead and measured everything out ahead of time. And that works a lot of times because you don't want to be measuring anything out while you're cooking. You want to be paying attention to what you're doing. You don't want to burn anything or mess anything up. And as for supplies today, all you're really going to need is a pot and a spoon for stirring things. So the first thing you're going to want to do is bring a pot of water to boil. Now mine's already boiling, and I've added some salt for flavor, but you can add whatever you'd like because the noodles get on a little bit of that. So then, once it's boiling and ready, you're going to go ahead and dump your noodles in. You're going to leave the pasta on the boil for about 8 minutes so it's nice and, tender. And while that's going, we're going to go ahead and make the beer mixture to go into the pasta. So what you're going to need for that is you've got your half cup of sour cream, your 1 egg, and 2/3 cup of beer. And I forgot to mention you'll probably also need a fork, but I'm sure you've got a fork lying around somewhere. So we'll go ahead and we'll stick the sour cream in the bowl. Next, we'll go ahead and add our egg. And then finally, the 2/3 cup of beer. Once that's all in there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to want to beat it up so that it becomes a smoother mixture. You don't want any chunks of sour cream or anything in there. Pasta's done, so we're going to go ahead and bring it over here, and we're going to go ahead and drain it. Alright, now we're actually going to leave the pasta in here for right now, and we're going to bring the pot back over here. And now, it sounds weird, but we're actually going to be cooking the bacon in a pot, which is probably the first time you'll ever cook bacon in a pot. So all I've been doing with the bacon is just pushing it around like normal, cooking it on a high heat, getting it nice and crispy. And now it actually looks like it's about done. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this out, and we're just going to stick it off to the side for right now. So now that you've taken the bacon out, you're going to want to drain the bacon grease out of the pot. You don't want to give anybody a heart attack, but you do want a little bit of that flavor still in there, so don't launch the pot or anything. Alright, so after you're done with that, what we're going to do is we're going to take the noodles, and we're going to go ahead and stick the noodles back in the pot. And just go ahead and give them a nice little stir. So you're just going to want to roll these noodles around a little bit and all that bacony goodness. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add that beer mixture that we made earlier. So let's go ahead and dump that in there. And that 2 tablespoons of butter that we had out. Now after this, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to keep stirring this at about a medium heat until the butter's melted and you see everything kind of coming together. You're going to take that cheese that you grated earlier, and you're going to add it in, just a little handful at a time. And you're going to keep stirring it. And you don't want to add more than about a handful at a time, because otherwise it'll get clumped up and it won't melt into the noodles properly. And then in between handfuls, I'll also start adding some of my spices. And as you'll notice, spices were the one thing that I didn't really measure out ahead of time. And that's because when you're cooking, the best advice I can give you is to just go ahead and do it to taste. And the last thing we're going to add is the bacon. Now, by now the bacon's probably cool. You can go ahead and just crumple it up with your hands. So just go ahead and crumple all that bacon in there. Make sure you're getting all that flavor. All you got left to do is eat it or brag to your friends, whatever you want to do. Alright, hope you enjoyed watching my video. Thanks.